guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 16 first look. We're going to go through and make a GPP lineup for this NFL DFS slate. It is a very short slate. It's short slate central for Christmas week here on DraftKings. We have a Thursday night game. We have, I think, 2 Saturday games. We have 3 Monday games. And then we're left with a 9-game main slate to deal with. So we're going to build a tournament lineup, double stack, bring back. We're going to build some secondary correlation in there as well. We're going to take a first look here with no projections, with no analysis, with no anything else, and do what we can to try and build a feasible lineup. And values will open up throughout the week, as they always do at this point in the season when players are always banged up, and there will be some value that opens up to allow you to do what you want later in the week. So thank you guys for being here. If you wanted to get an access to the cheat sheet, you can go over to Discord, smizzle.tv/Discord, become a service subscriber there. It's $5 a month. You get access to all the VIP rooms, as well as the weekly cheat sheet that comes out every single Friday. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
Make sure that you hop in the Smizz Gang Listener League for Week 16 as soon as it's posted. Go to smizzle.tv/links. It's a $10 league, 3 max to enter. I don't know what the size they're going to make it this week, because we did come up short by about 700 people and cost DraftKings $7,000. So it's going to be smaller this week for Week 16, but make sure that you get in there. Really good flat payout arc with 10% of the price will go into first place. I will shout out the top 10 finishers. This is last week's on the recap video that comes out on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. That link also available at smizzle.tv/links, or just in the search bar here on YouTube. Just type Al Smizzle Fantasy Football and you'll find that link. Go subscribe to the Fantasy Football channel, get our recap video, as well as some good sports betting videos, shorts, off-season stuff as well. Do all of those things. Get into the league, look at Al Smizzle Fantasy Football, and let's take a look at this slate. Like I said, Thursday night game, 2 games Saturday slate. I hate short slate football. I really don't like it. I know some people like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So we're left with this. The Detroit Lions on the road, but in a dome. So do with that Jared Goff information as you will. I was hanging out at the Fantasy Football World Championship yesterday, actually. I was going to say last week, but like on Sunday. And my +1 was Mike Wright from the Fantasy Footballers, the FF Hitman. We came up with a change for the Lions moving forward, that like maybe the Lions should go with a home/dome quarterback. They could keep Jared Goff, and Jared Goff would only play in home games or in dome games. And then they need an outdoor quarterback. They need to sign an outdoor quarterback. So Jared Goff never has to play in any sort of weather whatsoever. He is home or dome, and the Lions can start whoever else in road games that are outside. I think that's the way to go. Total of 47 here. Lions favored by 3 against the Minnesota Vikings, who've been very tough defensively, and now they've got JJ back. We'll see how that game plays out throughout the week and if there's any injuries. The Packers, injuries to monitor here, go up against the Panthers, who beat Arthur Smith this week. You suck, Arthur. Sorry, brother. Indianapolis Colts, favored by 2 over the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Tough scenes. You suck, Arthur. Sorry, bud. This Falcons trio, Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson, should realistically get like 20 to 22 targets a week on average. Let's say 9 for one, 8 for the other, and 5 for Bijan. That's how it should go every week. And you would ride or die with that. No, that's not how they do things. The Browns against the Texans, apparently toxic groupthink. Browns against the Texans, Houston favored by 2.5. Vegas, I believe, expecting CJ Stroud to be back for this game. The Jets are 3-point favorites. Maybe Aaron Rodgers starts. Who knows? Total of 38 against the Commanders in New York. Seahawks and the Titans. Seahawks favored by 2.5, 42.5. Jaguars and Buccaneers. Close game. We don't know what the situation is. We have Trevor Lawrence in concussion protocol. Monitor that as the week goes on. Cowboys, and we have pass funnel versus pass funnel here, by the way. Cowboys and Miami, really high total. Expecting everybody to be back for this one. This could be a fun game. Extremely expensive. We're going to need value to open up on the slate for us to be able to get to this one. Most explosive game by far on the slate. I assume that if value opens up, it's going to become like the chalk, like the absolute chalk. Cardinals and Bears. Bears by 4, 44.5. Respectable. And Arizona, capable of putting points on the board. We know that there are routes to go there. You know what would be sick here? If you went with like a a Bears stack. I'm not doing it on this video, but like Fields and Moore and like bring it back with T McB. That would be pretty, that's a lot of volume and upside from a stack and a bring back. And then we don't have to deal with this game, which is on Sunday. Like I said, 3 Monday games for Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody and bah humbug for this 9-game slate. As I said, 9. There's 9 games. We've been dealing with 10-game slates. I hate short slate football. I would rather have 12, 13 games on a main slate. But this is just, so I want to build this differently. As I've been talking about for a few weeks, there's certain running backs that we can correlate through. The running back prices are quite expensive. Rashad White is the highest salaried running back on the freaking board. He's averaging 16.7 points per game, over 20 points the last 2 games. Only 2 targets a game the last 2 games. I think he's going to trend upward in that category, but like the highest salaried guy on the board ahead of Raheem Mostert, who has 20 touchdowns on the year. Like I said, the pricing is up there. I think we might get Jonathan Taylor back this week going up against Atlanta. That is a tough defense, however. Jahmyr Gibbs at 7K. A lot of pricey guys. Derrick Henry, he's not the same. Unfortunately, he's just not. We talked about this because like against Houston, Derrick Henry has like a massive history of just blowing them up in fantasy. But like the question that I said in, it's like a DVP question or a BVP question. If you guys play daily fantasy baseball, batter versus pitcher stats, does a hitter when they were 25, do the at-bats they had when they were 20 to 25 really matter as much against a specific pitcher when this hitter is in decline and like past the age of 31? Like Miguel Cabrera's batter versus pitcher stats last year, the last couple of years, don't really matter if they came against a guy that he faced when he was 27 and like a triple crown type guy. So same thing with Derrick Henry. He's just not of that ilk anymore. Aaron Jones pressed into a higher volume role last week, only scored 11 points, gets Carolina this week. It's a whole lot of situations to monitor. Do what you want with this. I don't care. Arthur, I hate you. You're the worst. 1.4? You played Carolina. You lost to Carolina. He had less touches and less opportunities than Tyler Algier in a game where it was a torrential downpour and you just did not put the ball into the hands of your most dynamic running back more often. I hate him. It's inexplicable. Breece Hall only had 2 targets this week. The Jets could not pass the ball against Miami. They couldn't do anything. I think that we're going to see a bounce back to this previous usage at 6,100. And against Washington, he's going to pop once projections come out in a few days. He'll be one of the biggest values on the board at 6,100. And there's plenty of running backs out there. At quarterback, I think that there's a few ways that we can attack this slate. Joe Flacco has been good. 44 attempts or more in all 3 of his games. Capable pass catchers all over the field. 2 touchdowns or more in every game. Still only 5,500. Dr. Kings is not buying it. Nick Mullins, 5,300. Threw the ball 33 times. Clearly has some extremely viable pass catchers on the other side with JJ and Hawkinson and Addison. There's routes that you could go with this double, and we know that there are bring back plays on Detroit. And he's not going to cost you because he's so cheap. There's plenty of cheap options that we can attack through. Hell, if you think Will Levis is going to be back, he had that right ankle sprain where he went to the tent. He just will fling it. There's not consistency. There's not super reliable or high completion rates, but with Hopkins and everybody else that they have on that team, if he's playing, at least you have some downfield big play upside. Ritter, if you can stomach it at 5,000, we've seen big games from him this year, usually correlating when they get around the goal line and he scampers and takes a running touchdown away from Bijan Robinson. He's only 5K. And because the volume is so inconsistent, it makes those stacks tough to get to. Prescott, 79. Tua, 78. If you wanted to stack this game, you're going to need value. This is what I was talking about. Tyreek is 96. Lamb is 92. Waddle, 78. It's tough to stack this game. At tight end, Ferguson's really the only option as they don't go to any of their tight ends on Miami. I think that this is a game that you can secondary stack, but it's going to be extremely tough to full stack or game stack without some massive value opening up at running back or at wide receiver. We don't have that yet. I think that the Justin Fields stack that I mentioned earlier is in play. Going with this here, possibly hitting on DJ Moore at 6,900, a very nice price for him, and T McB at 57, right in the mid-range, very easy to get to, and Arizona has been something that we've attacked all season long. But I want to focus on this Jacksonville Tampa Bay game for the sake of this video. We're going to get some late swappability. The prices are up for everybody on Tampa Bay. Jacksonville has been a defense that has been very giving for us. Baker Mayfield's been carrying one of my best ball teams that lost Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins, so I want to give him the shout here. Better than people are giving him credit for being. We had not really seen a ceiling game from him. He was on the cheat sheet last week, popped off for 33 fantasy points, 4 touchdowns, 381 against Green Bay in Green Bay. Now goes back home to square off against Jacksonville for the Florida part of the Florida State consolation bracket champion, as Miami has run away with the Florida State championship. But we can correlate through the running back on this slate. I don't think he's going to get 2 targets. He did have one of those touchdowns, 26-yarder and 31-yarder the week before. So not a lot of volume the last 2 weeks, but the bankable volume that we've seen all season him in the passing game allows him to correlate pretty darn well with Baker Mayfield. I'm going to utilize that correlation. And then you can go with Godwin, who had a big game last week. If you want 12 targets following an 11 target game, as they moved a little bit more away from Rashad White in the passing game. The biggest upside at wide receiver is Mike Evans at 7,600, or at tight end. If you wanted to attack them through this, you can go with Cade Otton and hope that he wanders in for a touchdown. I want the big upside play. I want the multiple touchdown play with Mike Evans, as well as attacking Tampa Bay with tight ends. Give me Evan Ingram in this game. Obviously, I might change my mind if there is no Trevor Lawrence, but I kind of feel like he might get back for this game. If he doesn't, we can change this up. I've highlighted multiple other routes that you can go. So there's our double stack and bring back, correlating through a high volume pass catching running back. Let's plug in a defense. Not from that game, obviously. I need a cheap defense. Let's go with that. Now, there's different ways that we can get after things. I want to go with a cheap running back because I need one. Brian Robinson against the Jets. The Jets have not been efficient against opposing running backs, but Washington could be in a weird situation here if you wanted to go with him. But very few teams or very few running backs have had the volume that Chuba Hubbard has seen. 24 opportunities last week against Atlanta. Against New Orleans, 25 opportunities. 25 opportunities against Tampa Bay. 19 against Tennessee. He is getting tremendous volume for under 6K. And assuming that Madison is still out, assuming that Madison is still out, we also have Chandler at 5,600, who is a best ball favorite. There were a lot of people in the fantasy football community who loved him as a late pick. Madison and Cam Akers, completely inefficient. Madison missed last game. If Madison's back, Chandler's not going to be the guy. If Madison's out, you do have a spot, again, where we can go attack Ty Chandler at 5,600. So for the sake of this video, I wanted to mention him, but I'm not going to use him because his volume is not all that assured right now. Green Bay, not efficient at stopping opposing running backs, and 5,700 for Chuba Hubbard. I know. How can you play a Carolina running back? Well, I can play volume, and I can play it into a good matchup because volume plus matchup gives us the upside that we might possibly need. I need a cheap wide receiver. I need somebody. I'm going to go to Tennessee. Treylon Burks has run a lot more routes, only gotten 3 targets each of the last 2 weeks, but he was missed by his quarterback Levis this week on a play where he was wide open down the field. Starting to look a little bit better, getting a little bit more active. I think his snap count's going to escalate as the weeks go on. Next week, 16, week 17, week 18, where we're going to be able to kind of maybe get after Treylon Burks a little bit and open up a whole lot of volume for us. Now, I could bring this back with somebody on Seattle, but I wanted to get to a different play. And again, because of all the injuries, it's something that I wanted to talk about. This is the if-then for this particular lineup. Jaden Reed has been outstanding since being pressed into a higher volume role. He is actually good at football. 8 touchdowns so far in the year. He's kind of the poor man's Debo in the way that he is being rolled out and deployed by the Green Bay Packers. 17.2 points, 20 points, 18 targets the last 2 weeks in the absence of Christian Watson. But Jalen Reed had a toe injury this week. If he does not play this weekend, if he plays, he's fine at 5,400. There's also a chance that Christian Watson might be able to make it back this week, and I think that Christian Watson is very, very much a difference maker for the Green Bay Packers offense. His price is all the way down at 4,700. You have multiple touchdowns in his last 3 games before struggling with that hamstring injury. I think that he is the better play to read if both are active in that game, but we have to wait on him. And then if he is out, Dontavian Wicks with 13 targets the last 2 weeks, 4,300, still very good value play there. I'm going to go with Reed for the sake of this lineup, leaving us 6,900. And if you understand my brand, you know where we're going. It's going to be to DJ Moore. Another 8 targets against Cleveland, one of the toughest defenses in terms of EPA per play the previous couple of weeks against Detroit, and a very good Minnesota defense who kept them to 12 points, basically all field goals. He still got there on volume alone with 25 points. Now they get Arizona. They don't really have very much semblance of a running game in Chicago, which is how we want to attack Arizona, but they are wholly inefficient at stopping just about everything. So another big game on tap for DJ Moore. Give us Baker Mayfield, White, Hubbard, Evans, Burks, Reed, Ingram, and DJ Moore. Plug in a defense that fits, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Make sure you get in the listener league, join the Discord, become a channel member, and look out for another video right there. I don't know why I'm holding this recap video. Hook shot. Oh, bank!
He's a legend.